Hello, it's your favorite sports thunk here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry.
Yes, sir.
Jerry is keeping Mike McCarthy in Dallas. Jerry said, I believe this team is very close and capable of achieving our ultimate goals. The best step forward will be for us will be with Mike McCarthy as our head coach. Jerry detailed there are many layers of success and progress. McCarthy has overseen 3 straight postseason eligible seasons. He also praised McCarthy's relationship with the players. Ocho, what's Jerry saying?
Jerry saying is he is comfortable with mediocrity in the regular season because where it all counts is in the postseason.
Correct.
Your head coach is supposed to be a leader of men that is able to get them to get over the hump at some point, for one with teaching. I'm trying to think of a better word without me having to be rude in the way that I speak it. But if Mike McCarthy can't get them over the hump, past the first round, past the divisional round, what does that tell you? The record looks good. You're not playing the game of football for regular season and going 12-3 or 13-2 or whatever it might be. If your standard is wanting to win a championship, wanting to win a Super Bowl title, then you have to make the certain changes. And the changes for winning that starts with starts with your head coach. Mm-hmm. If everything else is working, or you feel everything else is working and you're so close, then what's the problem? How do you miss it? How do you miss it? Why not go get, you got Jim Harbaugh out there. Mm-hmm. You got Bill Belichick out there. Mm-hmm. There's one more coach. There's one more coach out there that I can't think of.
Mike Vrabel?
Vrabel, yeah, I like Vrabel. There's somebody else though. Somebody else that has a winning resume, has a winning pedigree. But again, the funny thing about it, the names that I'm naming are names where all the attention would be off of Jerry Jones.
Yeah, you don't
want all the tension would be about Jim Harbaugh, or it would be about Bill Belichick. That's why I think he didn't go after a coach of that magnitude, so he could retain that attention and always be front and center as he's done consistently throughout the years. And I'm hoping the results aren't the same, but he keeps doing it his way. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming, I don't want it to be that way, but I'm assuming that's what's going to happen this year as well.
Do what you always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. Mm-hmm. You see, the fact of the matter is that 12-5, that's that. Because here's the thing, Ocho. Mm-hmm. Where's the downside? Mm-hmm. The game was a blowout, and it drew 40 million viewers.
Woo!
Okay, the last 3 years they made the playoffs, they've gone out of the playoffs unceremoniously.
Right.
So what changes? What changes? Jerry's okay with that because, Ocho, he doesn't lose any money. It's not predicated. Him getting millions and millions of dollars to make the Super Bowl, Jerry's going to get his money regardless. So there's really no incentive.
Who is he fooling then? Why say all this? Why say all this stuff at the beginning? I want to be a Super Bowl contender. I can't wait till we get back to that era of the 90s and understanding what it takes to get there. For one, getting a coach that can do it outside of just the regular season. Mm-hmm. Mike McCarthy has a great resume. He has a Super Bowl resume. Mm-hmm. But again, I saw a graphic. There are other coaches that have the same resume as him. He's a Super Bowl champion.
Oh, you're talking about Pete Carroll. That's who the other coach you was talking about, Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete, you're right. Pete Carroll as well. Mike McCarthy has had Brett Favre. He's had Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. And he's had Dak Prescott. There might be someone else I'm missing there somewhere.
No.
And no?
No. I mean, he had he had a quarterback when Dak got hurt for a couple of games. I forget his name.
That was it. Yeah. But that's I think maybe a 16-year tenure, maybe 16, 17, maybe 15. I'm not sure the exact number. And you have one Super Bowl to show for it, and you're trying to get back to that pinnacle of reaching it again. And I don't know if he's the guy for the job. I would think he'd be really serious about it. I think you would consider as a GM, as a head, as a GM, as the owner, as really every goddamn title, you make a change. But I guess he didn't see fit.
No, Jerry wants to do. Here's the thing, Ocho. I would rather lose my way than win some other way.
Right.
So in other words, I'm gonna lose, but if I bring in a Belichick, if I bring in somebody else and they win, now I'm not gonna get the credit.
What does it matter? And you're.
But that's why you think he got rid of Jimmy. If it didn't matter, he would have kept Jimmy.
I have a
question. It does
question.
matter.
Can I get a little context on this? Do you
Sure.
know the reason why it didn't work with Jimmy and he had just won a Super Bowl? Do you know the reason why?
No, it wasn't just a Super Bowl. It was back-to-back Super Bowls. Because because when he wanted to be a part of it, and Jimmy didn't include him. So that's what made him feel a certain type of way. He was like, hold on, this is my ish. And then you treat me like I'm an outsider, like I'm a fan. And I'm not a fan. I'm the owner.
I don't understand. No other owner is at the forefront.
No.
None. Every blue moon, they'll say something. If the only time you see them sometimes when they come on the sideline before the game, when they come down on the sideline after the game, any other time, you get a clip of them in the skybox.
Right.
That's it. Short clip. ESPN might talk about them. Amazon. That's it.
Right.
Jerry wants to be front and center. Dude, you make the most revenue of any team.
Yes.
You are the richest team.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you need? We know who you are.
Credit for winning a Super Bowl. Because who was the owner that he gravitated to when he first bought the team when he was in the league? Al Davis. When you think of the Raiders, who do you think of? Al Davis.
Al Davis.
So when Jerry is the only other owner is that you think of it, if you go back to the modern era, if you go back to any sport, he's like George Steinbrenner. When you think of the Yankees, it was George Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner, right.
Mr. Steinbrenner. That's who it was. There have been a lot of other owners, but it was him. So when you think of the Cowboys and they've had great players, it's Jerry.
Right.
And that's what he loves. He loved that attention. Jerry is like a rock star. There are a lot of billionaires. There's a lot of billionaires that has way more money than Jerry, but they don't garner the attention that Jerry does. That's what he likes. That's what he craves.
So maybe that's the issue, Unc. Maybe that's the issue. At what point, how can somebody not close to Jerry get him to understand? Maybe we're not getting there because of you always being front and center. Maybe that's the issue. How do you not see that? How does someone close to him, when you have too many yes men around you, many yes men around you, and they don't tell you the issues because they don't want to mess up the flow of income or whatever it is that you're receiving. It makes no sense. Listen, a blind man can see what the issue is.
No.
Some people say, it's the players. Well, goddamn, it's been 30 years. You blame the players every year? They've had different coaches. Are you gonna blame the coaches every year?
Ocho.
When it comes to winning, if I'm not mistaken, it always starts at the top, right?
Right, it does.
It always starts at the top, right? And it trickles down from that point on.
Yes.
It ain't rocket science.
Ocho, the blindest man isn't the man that cannot see. It's the man that chooses not to see. That is like Jerry's problem.
Wait a minute.
Jerry's not blind.
Stay right there for me. Well, because you done started early. You done started early with the quotes, boy. Yeah, let me get that one. Yes, sir.
That what you gonna use that on rail?
Huh?
You gonna use that on rail?
I ain't gonna use it on her. I ain't gonna use it on her. Yes, sir. Well, I like that one now. The blindest man. Look at my
is the one that cannot see.
Man.
Who drew the kid drew in your book?
Yeah, man. The baby. The blindest man
is it the one that cannot see? It's the one that chooses not to see.
Is the one that chooses not to see.
And that's Jerry's problem.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this here. So Okay, you said you got rid of old Jason Garrett because Jason Garrett was mediocre. He was 8-8. Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy in the playoffs, 1-3. Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott was 1-2. Tony Romo and Jason Garrett was 1-1. Wade Phillips and Tony Romo was 1-2. So tell me what's the difference? What's the difference between Dak? And all I hear is how great the talent is. This team reminds me of those 90s Super Bowl teams. I'm as proud of this team as I've ever been around any Cowboys team, and I'll include those Super Bowl winning teams of the 90s. That's what Jerry said on Thanksgiving after beating the Commanders.
Stop. Why? Why do that?
12-5.
That's unnecessary.
12-5. 12-5. 12-5. So that's 36-15. 1-3 in the postseason.
It's still a winning record, but it's not the standard. It's not the standard that you're talking about or trying to set.
No.
So you're basically settling for mediocrity. I don't even know if I can say that. That's
mediocrity. That's what they are. Yeah.
Okay.
They're not. Okay. Look, they have very good to great regular seasons.
Yeah.
But when it matters, okay, now the postseason is an entirely different season. Now what do we got to show for it? Right. We got 1-3. We got 1-2 with Jason Garrett. We got 1-1 with Garrett and Romo. We got 1-2 with Wade and Romo. So you won 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're 4 and 5, 6, 8.
I think I'm trying to think. I'm trying to understand and think. When it comes to a head coach, you always want a head coach. What you do in the regular season is awesome, but having a head coach that can get more out of you when it really counts.
Yes,
he can pull everything there is out of you and help players reach their full potential where it matters most, and that's in those moments in the postseason. Yes, that's the type of coaching they need. The way they played that last game against the Cowboys, even though against the Packers, even though the Packers got the ball first, fine. They went down and scored. They were supposed to come back and answer.
Yes.
And answer. The Packers set the tone. They were supposed to come back and answer and set the tone. And they didn't.
Yeah.
And then the Packers get the ball again and score again. You at home.
They scored 6 of their first 7 possessions. They scored touchdowns on 6 of their first 7 possessions.
Oh, unheard of.
Yeah.
You're playing in obviously regular season. You're scoring 30-some points a game at home.
Right.
So everybody, Cowboys fans, even me, okay, you know what? Dallas is probably going to win this game today. Based on their record at home, the number of points they scored at home. All of a sudden you get to the postseason. What happened? Everybody flat. There was a disconnection. I'm not sure what was wrong with the Wi-Fi between Dak and CD. I could see it from the first pass.
Mm-hmm.
The first pass. Something was off. The body language is off.
Ocho,
no enthusiasm. Nobody you could just tell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But we say this every year with the Cowboys. Remember when they lost to the 49ers at home? They weren't ready to play. And remember last year? They went on the road to San Fran. They weren't ready to play. And then you get a can of whip ass opened up on you at home, 48-16 with under 6 minutes to play. We judge players. We said, okay, he's great in the regular season, but what about the postseason?
Right.
Okay. Same for coaches. Okay, Mike McCarthy is a great regular season coach. But what about the postseason? That's where the ultimate grade or the ultimate validation in where you ultimately judge that.
Right.
And based on that, he hadn't gotten it done. And he hadn't come close. He hadn't come close.
That's not fair. Because you just said something that just hurt my feelings.
What?
We judge players based on what they do in the postseason. Man, I ain't really get to see the postseason. That's not fair.
Well, mainly it's quarterbacks. Because that's the guy that really controls everything.
Right.
You know, you and I, we play dependent positions.
Right. Okay. How
about this, Ocho? This is how they do it. If I want you to go to the Hall of Fame, I'm going to tell you, even though you didn't play the quarterback position, I'm going to tell you about the playoff games that you won. I'm going to tell you about the Super Bowl that you were in and you won. If I don't, I'm going to say, well, you didn't win. That's the argument I use against you.
I got you.
I can make an argument for or against according to where I am in your corner.
Right.
If I'm with you, hey, well, no Ocho can do. Ocho had a team. The quarterbacks weren't very good, blah, blah, blah. But if I want Ocho to get in, look at what Ocho was doing. He went to the Pro Bowl, wasn't all pro. Even though he didn't have playoff success, it wasn't for him. Look at 1,500, 1,600 yards. Look at leading the league in receiving. Look. You see, you see how I make the argument for you when I want you to get in?
Yeah, right. I appreciate that. I like the way you stand on 10 for your boy now.
But see, Mike McCarthy, what argument can I use? Everybody tells you at the beginning of the year how talented the Cowboys are. Nobody has drafted more. So that's even more of an indictment. You're that talented and then get whitewashed like you got done. That's even more of an indictment, Ocho.
Right.
All those Pro Bowl players. We know they got 3 guys. We know they got 2 guys that go the offensive line. The left tackle and the right guard go into the hall as soon as they're done. They got 5 years and they're done. Tyron Smith and Zach Martin.
Oh, yeah. Zach Martin, yeah.
So you got your left tackle that's an all-pro. You got your left guard. He was an all-pro. Your right guard was an all-pro. Your quarterback was an all-pro. CD was an all-pro. Deron Bland, was an all-pro. So you got 6 guys of your 22 starters that were first or second team all-pro. And Micah Parsons, I don't think Michael
was all-pro.
Not this. He's been an all-pro, but I don't think he was this year.
Right.
So with that being said, you got 6 of your 22 starters either first or second team all-pro.
Right.
But you also, all those guys that I named made the Pro Bowl. So you got 7 guys that made the Pro Bowl. And you at some point in time, you find yourself down 48-16 at home.